Hello students, in today's class we are going to discuss about Orientalism. This is an important chapter for post-colonialism, and this work Orientalism is written by Edward Said, the famous Palestinian theoretician. In this work Orientalism, he is describing about Orient, what is Orient, Orientalism and hegemony of West. Okay, what is Orientalism? Actually, Orientalism is a word firstly propounded by Edward Said, and this came from the word or concept of Orient. Actually, Orient means East or East and Africa and everything related to Asia and Africa. Orientalism is a book about the life of Asians and Africans portrayed in Western literature. The term Orient means East, and white intellectuals have showed them as other or binary opposite and inferior to white. That means, in actually, Edward Said observes that somewhat in almost all the Western literature texts, they have portrayed the people of Asia and Africa as something different or other from white people, and they are showed as binary opposite or inferior to white people. That means for East, the opposite word is West. Likewise, they have showed that all things, all cultures, all life aspects related to uh, related to the people of Asia and Africa is extremely different and opposite to the life of the people, opposite to the people of white. They are pictured as intellectually inferior to white people. Africans are pictured as a group of nomadic and barbaric people who never want to change themselves. This is what Westerners have expressed about, uh, about the way of life of Africans and Asians. Such an expression was a technique from Western intellectuals to implement their authority over Asia and Africa. Actually, why these Westerners have pictured like this is because they just want to impose or implement their power over Asia and Africa, and this was actually a technique from Western part, and they in all the works they have showed that the Africans are inferior, and for that they need the assistance of Westerners to improve themselves. And this concept is also known as Westman's burden. For this, Westerners for this purpose, Westerners have visited Asia and Africa, collected details about them, and pictured these details and aspects of African culture from Western perspective. Actually, what they have did is not only the geographical attack, they have also made some attacks on the cultural context of African life, like they have visited all the interior parts of Asia and Africa. They have collected all the minute details of Asian African lives, but they expressed these aspects and culture of Asia and Africa in English books in such a way that they are inferior to Western people. They have expressed all these aspects of African culture from Western perspective. not from the viewpoint of Africans. What the Africans may think, that they did not showed in any of their works, but they have showed what the Westerners are thinking. Okay, here Edward said condemns or criticizes this attitude of Europe as hegemonic, and these ideas of Edward Said is expressed in his book Orientalism, which was published in 1978. Westerners have Westerners have expressed these Africans as barbaric, primitive, pagan, and undeveloped ones. In his work, Edward Said condemns this Western attempt to grab the control of East and Africa through this degradation. This attempt and these efforts are attempts from Western viewpoint or Western intelligentsia played a key role in expanding the cultural domination of Europe over Asia and Africa. Actually, they did all these in order to grab their control over the culture of Asia and Africa. Edward Said calls this attitude of West as hegemonic. Said observes that the Western writers like Goethe, Hugo, Scott, Byron, George Eliot, etc., are expressing this Oriental attitude. We all know that Coleridge, Scott, George Eliot, Byron have wrote tremendously about this Eastern culture. But what they are, according to Edward Said, what they are expressing in their writings are that these Asians and Africans are somewhat different, somewhat inferior to Westerners. So Edward Said is severely criticizing these writers' writings about these Asians and Africans. And in the later books, Edward Said feels a disparity or gulf or difference in reality and the picture in Oriental texts. That means later on, all the people in this world are feeling feeling something, some disparity or differences between what they have read in the books and what is happening in reality. That means nowadays, and for many centuries, we all know that Asian and African culture is far more better than Western culture. For in many aspects, they are far more better. This is the reality difference between what they have pictured in their text and what we are experiencing in our daily life. So this is a precise expression about the work Orientalism. Thank you.